Friends, welcome back. I am Jason and I'm feeling a little bit under the weather, and as a frugal individual, I look for my medicine in the woods as much as possible as opposed to running to the pharmacy. I prefer things that are made in nature as opposed to things that are created in a lab. Bushcat approves of my medicine. Early settlers of Appalachia didn't have the pharmacy. They didn't have Walgreens. They had to go out and find what they needed off of the landscape. And that's exactly what I'm gonna do today. So I'm gonna be harvesting some wild medicinal plants, and I'm gonna be brewing me up some medicine. Friends, this here is a white pine, and it is by far the best one around here to use for my elixir that I'm making. You can tell it's a white pine because the branches grow in whorls. Typically, there'll be a section of the main trunk that doesn't have any branches, and then you'll see a circle of branches, and then there'll be a section with no branches, and there'll be a circle, a whorl, if you will, and then nothing, and then another whorl. And that, my friends, is a white pine. Pretty easy to identify in my area. Pretty difficult to confuse it with a different kind of pine. It also has 5 needles per cluster, if you were interested in some more information, but typically that whorl right there is easy enough to identify right there. Now, based on a little bit of research, the same chemical composition that's in this tree right here, which is shikimic acid, is the same stuff that they put in cold and flu medicine like Tamiflu. I've never had any Tamiflu before, but, you know, I guess it works, otherwise people wouldn't buy it. One. Picking dandelions now. Dandelions have a ton of medicinal benefits. They're rich in minerals, easy to identify, and they grow absolutely everywhere. So not only is it loaded with minerals, it's also a good liver detox. The dandelion that's found all over the world has so many health benefits. Now, I've done teas out of these wild edibles and medicinals a bunch, but I've never tried the fermented soda. So that is happening today. I really enjoy the fermented beverages like kombucha, homemade wines and things like that, mead. Really enjoy that kind of stuff, so I'm excited to see what this is going to turn out like. That's red dead nettle right there. We're gonna throw some peppermint in there as well. Make sure you're being careful when you're identifying these plants. Be extra confident. Make sure that you're not plucking it from your neighbor's yard that sprays herbicides and pesticides and whatnot on it. This here is lemon balm. We're gonna throw that in our jar. Lemon balm is a good natural mood enhancer. I mean, I'm typically in a pretty good mood, generally speaking anyway, but, you know, everybody could stand to be a little bit more chipper, right? And if you rough it up a little bit, it smells really nice. Make sure you use good clean water. This is water from our well, which is clean already, but it's running through a filter as well. We're making a tea for pretty much immediate use, boiling the water, and then I'm going to remove it off of the heat, put the pine needles and other various medicinal weeds in there, and then put the lid back on to steep. I'm not going to boil it in there because you might destroy some of the vitamins and such that are in the plants. And then we're going to make some soda pops. Dropping some more pine needles into our glass container here. Our vitamin, mineral enriched, immune boosting soda. I'm not sure about the flavor on this one. We're gonna have to wait and see what it's gonna taste like. But I have high hopes. So somewhere between 3 and 10 days, depending on temperatures, that's how long we're gonna have to wait before we can sample this thing. So we're gonna add some lemon juice, some fresh squeezed lemon juice into each of these to hopefully improve the flavor a bit. So I'm gonna put 3 tablespoons of honey in each of these. And I'm just gonna dissolve it in some warm water to make it easier to get in there. So we turn the heat off. Now the water is boiling, we're just gonna add our pine needles and various other weeds to the mixture there. And then just put a lid on it. Now just fill it up the rest of the way with water. Cap it and give it a shake. There we go. My tea has steeped, so I can just ladle it off the top there, and that keeps most of the pine needles out when you do it like that. This steeped for about 20 minutes. It's cool enough to drink now. And it actually tastes pretty good. I don't mind it even when it's cold. I like the taste of it. You can add honey to it if you want, but not absolutely necessary. This is mullein tincture, mullein as I like to call it because I like to sound fancy. This is excellent for respiratory health. Friends, thanks so much for watching. If you haven't hit the thumbs up already, please do. If you haven't subscribed, please consider doing that. I'm gonna drink a few glasses of my pine needle tea each day until I start feeling a little bit better. We're gonna have to wait a few days on the soda, see how that turns out. So make sure you guys stay tuned to see if it's any good at all. Some people say it tastes like Sprite. I have my doubts. I've also got my mullein tincture here that I'll be taking. And then, of course, the old standby apple cider vinegar, which pretty much cures everything. So, I think I'll be good to go. Thanks, guys.